Peace, peace. Hey, Black Dot, how's it going?
It is going, Mama Dot. Pleasure,
Yes.
pleasure to be here once again on a Sunday, a light Sunday evening, where we can discuss, answer some questions. Am I centered? Do I need to move to the left, to the right?
You look great.
Okay, I love the way that sounds. Look great.
Yes.
Thank you guys for coming in on a Sunday. Hope 6 minutes.
Welcome to episode 56.
Oh, 56. Okay, Mama Dot. All right. Episode 56. Thank you guys. I hope you're having a very relaxed Sunday where you're just preparing for your week, sitting back. As you know, the HULC series, Hip Hop Urban Life Coach. This is the Black Dot, where I answer questions. A whole bunch of questions of things that may concern you about life, health, finance, relationship, hip-hop, music, culture, children, you name it, if I can answer you. But I am not a doctor. I am not a professional in finances, so please consult your professionals. This is for entertainment-ish only, if that makes any sense. Entertainment only. So thank you guys for being here. I'll get to the questions in the chat momentarily. I want to answer a few questions that came across on Instagram, and then Mama Dot, you can plug me in for questions that perhaps came in on Facebook
Yep, I have a few of them here.
and other places. Hold on one second. Let me get this popping. Hope all is well.
Yes. On this beautiful Sunday, we are here.
Yes, so the first question comes from G.O.DEE7. He says, can you elaborate more on the alcohol and the ritual aspects of it? I might be getting this wrong, but I believe I heard you speak on drinking alcohol ritualistically on the show. Okay, so the best way to answer that question is it's a stimulant. So we used to call the alcohol a bottle of spirits because it had the potential to take what was inside of you and bring it up and bring it out. You've heard some people say a drunk person speaks a sober mind. Now, when going through dance and celebration and the raising of Kundalini energy, all of these things that heighten your energy, we used to have the natural ability to secrete DMT and other things into the brain at will to help us have out-of-body experiences or connect with the all. Mushrooms is another stimulant or that could help. That ayahuasca. These are some of the marijuana in its purest form, and alcohol. Some deem evil, but that bottle of spirits, if taken in conjunction with the music and a specific mindset, can help you reach like an altered state. I know when I'm at a club partying, the music sounds different. It does on the alcohol. And so using the alcohol with a purpose is what I meant when I said from a ritualistic standpoint, we didn't just sit around and drink alcohol for no apparent reason. That became the lower level of it and the abuse of the alcohol and things of that nature. But there was a time when there was a specific purpose. There was only 2 or 3 times when we were going to beat that drum and call on the ancestors or conjure up a specific energy, and the alcohol in its purest forms, not a lot of that stuff you see now, which is just tearing your liver apart, in its purest forms, and so here in America, since they know we are the true and living, everything that we do, the problem is we do it to its extreme. And so sex is magic. Alcohol and ayahuasca and all of these so-called drugs were magic when used properly. But when you overindulge and they bring it into so much of us, we lose our ability to use it from a magical standpoint. And that's why you always see those having to take more and more powerful stimulants to have this out-of-body experience or connect with the all. And so imagine you never did it, and then you ritualistically went at it, the type of experiences that could be had. And I've always even said the first time you took crack, if you ever experienced crack, the euphoric feeling of such was dynamic, but you tried to spend the rest of your life trying to get there because you wasted an opportunity. You wasn't ritualistically or aligning yourself with intent and purpose to use it. You was, let me try that. And then, woo, where it took you, and then you try to spend the rest of your life getting there. And so everything we do, the music, the dance, the sex, the party, all of those things became a part of our urban alchemy here in America, and we began to figure bits and pieces of it out. But the overindulgence by flooding our neighborhoods with crack cocaine and things that attach to the melanin molecules a little bit differently has caused havoc. And so I don't want people to literally think I'm saying just grab a bottle of Henny off the shelf and you magic. Everything we do collectively is, but intent is important. And so I just wanted to make that clear. I hope that answered that question. There was one more that I want to get to, Mama Dot, as the people continue to file in, and I appreciate your presence here. This is by Rex_Hunter. This is a long one. Peace to the God, Black Dot, favorite podcast. How significantly do you reckon the dissemination of intellect and the technological innovations by the Moors to European entities facilitated the emergence of European dominance, particularly via the avenues of colonial expansion and the establishment of slavery? This development, in my view, has steered the course of global civilization towards a moral regression. Do you agree with this notion that had the Moors refrained from imparting their knowledge, we as a collective might currently preside over global affairs from an African epicenter? Wow. I'm in agreement with what you're saying in terms of the transferring of this type of information to those who may not have been ready for it or understood the spiritual significance of having this kind of information. See, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so when I listen to the elders speak about the Moors in their rawest essence, I hear a lot of, we were a fallen people. And because we knew the past, present, and future, we knew a time would come when we would get rocked to sleep. And we had to kind of preserve this knowledge until we were ready to redeem it. And so we gave it to specific Europeans, and that helped start the Knights Templar and all of their secret societies, because even they knew their people could not just have this type of information at their readily disposal. But when you get that power in your hand, I don't care what kind of secret agreements you made, it starts feeling good. You start feeling dominant. You're not trying to give that back. So it became a lifelong mission of these Europeans to keep the original Moors, the original man down, confused, downtrodden, discriminated against, an all-out war so that we would never wake up. And the ones who did and then join their own little boulets and this and that become the guardians of our secrets to keep us at bay. These are the things that have happened. And yes, I do feel that had we not done that, of course, we would be sitting in a position of power. And remember, the Moors enslaved a lot of those Europeans. You know what I'm saying? But there was a different, it wasn't chattel slavery, which is the difference. So there wasn't, you were able to keep your family together since that you were a servant, and after a certain amount of years, you could buy your freedom. And so even in a slavery sense, we had a moral code of how we did things. So now we're at a place where this information is coming back to us naturally. We're waking up, we're coming online, and so we are going to naturally inherit what belongs to us, but it's not going to happen without a fight. As you see, they are fighting for what they believe. They're not trying to give up. So I believe that is an excellent question, but we've been here so long, which tells me we're going to win as we always do. And this will be a footnote within our history of some of the stuff that we've been through. And I hope that, helps answer that question for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Dropping it tonight.
Yes.
Listen, I just want to remind everybody that we are having a sale going on right now.
Oh.
At www.shopurbanx.com. Get in there, and we are running, I believe it's 50% off?
For the hoodies.
For the hoodies?
2 for $100.
2 for $100. Wow.
How about that?
Did you just make that up? Like right now?
I just made that up on the fly. 2 hoodies for $100 before we close.
All right.
Just like if we was on the podcast. I'm on the fly with it, baby.
They're about to hit the truck and go into storage.
Yeah, they're about to hit that truck and go into storage.
All right. The site does not reflect that right now, but it will by tonight.
Okay. All right. I like
as soon as this is over,
I like put
will
Mama
have
Dot on
the
the spot. I like doing that. Absolutely.
Yes. 50 jobs around here.
50 job
We got
line.
50 jobs. Yes, let's keep it rocking and rolling. Somebody asked, where do you put your questions? You're going to put them right in the chat where I read it.
Yeah, you could put them right in the chat here, and I'll read them. Yes.
Yeah, we'll try to get to as many as we can.
Right.
As many as we can.
Absolutely.
Because we put the call out, and they answered.
Yes, and this is our 3rd Sunday in a row. Mm-hmm. We'll clap that up.
Absolutely.
And so we're trying to be consistent. Sunday's a more relaxed time.
Yeah.
And just, get in and answer some questions for some people.
Perfect. All right, let's keep it rocking and rolling. This next question comes in from, I just lost it. Where did it go? Terrence. He wants to know, what do you think the real reason that they are letting all these immigrants over here? Like, what's the point? What's really going on?
Very good question. And it's a question that we're going to spend a long time, maybe 30 years answering after it's all said and done. And so there are probably multiple reasons, because your government could stop immigrants from coming into this country in one day if they really wanted to. There's always been a few that come across, but never like this. And so what you're seeing, in my humble opinion, is something all by design. It's like if you put the faucet, you clog up your tub, and you turn the faucet on, and you just let a steady leak of water come through. Eventually, it's going to overflow. And overflow due to lack of housing, lack of jobs, lack of medical care, lack of all of these things which already exist in this country, right? So we already have people who are born and raised here who don't have housing, who don't have health care, who don't have jobs, who don't have proper education, who are incarcerated, and so many other things. So imagine, I keep telling you, when you want to know about the unknown, you study what you know. If you allow the faucet, and then you turn the faucet up a little bit, and we're literally all watching the water come in, and we looking around knowing, oh my, if we don't pull the plug on this, that this will eventually overflow. And then what happens when it overflows? Does that mean these police cities that are being built in certain states, is that for them? Or does that mean it's going to lead to war, because the people who are already here feeling I only have a little bit. Remember, scarcity is a science with these individuals in power. And so when I start feeling my job is being threatened, or I'm looking out my home and I'm seeing an influx of people who don't speak my language, right? Not just the verbal language, the cultural language, the spiritual language. What this does, it creates a form of dissension, and then there's going to be a form of violence and other things, and that may all be a part of the plan, all for some political agenda being pulled off by the puppets who are using us and our energy to, bring about this, agenda that they have in the grand scheme of things is what I'm saying. And so there's multiple reasons. There's a political reason, there's a spiritual reason, there's confusion, all of these things happening at one time. But we're all literally watching the water run into the tub of life here in America, and soon it's gonna come flowing over. And when it does, there's going to be some change that take place. And so just prepare you and your family for what's coming down the pipe. That's the best way I think I can answer that question for you.
Okay, there you have it. The next question comes in from High Tech Knowledge. He says, Dot, is there a thing of overindulging in intimacy, sex? I love women so much, Dot, but I want to stay focused. How can I satisfy my girl while being in the grind?
Oh, okay. So again, remember the key to discipline means discipline on all levels. And so at times, whatever your grind is, you have to stay focused. For a man, when we think about that box, right? Even if it's with your lady, the draining of your energy is going to lead to a depletion of your energy in other areas. It's just really simple math. And so a good woman is trying to keep her husband's belly full, his nutsack empty, and his brain clear. And so in that process, if the nut sack is empty, but the brain is not clear, you still have an imbalance of things going on. And so this is why boxers refrain from sex. It's all depending what that mission is that you are on. Now, if you're talking about just spreading your seed thin to a whole bunch of people, there's never anything but instant gratification of that, but long-time effects do take place when you do that. You're just running around, hitting this one, hitting that one. And so after that energy goes from here back up to here, if it is not clear, then you're just running in place. And we see a lot of that. And this, we've seen total empires come down because a man couldn't keep his penis in his pants. And it was just, it's his penis, which led to him being not focused, which led to his finances or beef with another individual or beef. We've seen it in the rap game. All of them are tied down somehow to a woman or this and that. If you have a single woman, she has to be able to understand what the mission is. There may come a time, of course, you just need a release, but you have to stay focused and put on point so that you can achieve the overall goal, so that later on, if we choose to just apply those three principles, keep the nutsack empty, the stomach full, and the brain clear, it becomes a little bit more easy to accomplish. But women, unknowingly or knowingly, they possess a lot of power. And if she's a jealous woman, which I don't know, and she sees that you're giving attention to something other than her and her needs, she's sophisticated enough to know how to drain your energy and get you sleepy and you know what I'm saying, foggy, simply by draining the nutsack. It's as simple as that. Then I'll get back to that later. So it's dependent if you guys are in alignment. I feel that's the best way I can answer that.
Okay, cool. There you have it. Listen, you watch Freaknik. What do you think about Freaknik?
I thought Freaknik was better than I thought it. It was better than I thought it was going to be because it had a lot of context to it. It wasn't just chicks gyrating with twerk wind on the camera and them showing you explicit. They even blocked out most of the raw explicit images. it gave us the story of how it started, the intent. And the intent was totally different than what it became. And so listening to the founders who came up with an idea, they couldn't afford to travel home because a lot of people, you come to Atlanta as a student, you don't have money to go home, so they wanted to raise money and give a picnic, and then understanding the song "Freak Out," you know what I'm saying, which was a classic in the '80s. You know what I'm saying? Connecting Freak and Nick and creating Freaknik had nothing to do with the sexual energy that was going to come about out of this experience. Now, the more and more that this thing grew, the more and more people showed up, the more you have young people, male and female, coming together in some place like Atlanta in closed quarters with alcohol and drugs. Guess what that's gonna lead to? That's gonna lead to some sexual energy, you know what I'm saying, being manifested. Then when you factor in Luke, who was in Florida, came down and bought a system. His whole booty shaking, he bought all the freakiness there, and then one thing led to another, and this thing spiraled out of control. And then it reached a bubbling point where women were totally being violated. They couldn't walk the street and feel safe around all of those men because all of the energy was coming from the lower chakras at this point. This was all red and orange energy, lower chakra sexual energy being generated in places like that. So the energy took a tilt. Then Atlanta won the Olympics, the lottery for the Olympics, and they had to clean all of that stuff up. And then they started doing the things that they normally do and barricading people and forcing people to go 15, 20 exits and discouraging you from the coming, and then the energy died. And the grand scheme of things. And it also reminds me that's how hip-hop was in the beginning. Hip-hop was pure, hip-hop was honest, hip-hop was fun. You know what I mean? And then it turned into a whole bunch of other things that dealt with manipulation, mind control, money, prisons, sex, violence, drugs, and everything you have now. And so I saw a lot of similarities in it.
Yes, there you have it. I thought it was dope.
Yes.
Seeing the history and, how it started with the founders.
Yes.
It was clean.
Clean.
It was clean.
Clean, honest fun.
Yes.
Yes.
And it just took a turn.
Yes.
To where we are today. There you have it. All right. The next question comes from Christopher. Will the government ever show us the alien spaceship? Or will the aliens ever reveal themselves?
I believe that portion of things is going to come soon. And I've been saying it for a while, and because it's the one card in their back pocket that eventually they have to play to bring about fear, to bring about a shift in consciousness. A number of things are going to take place. You know what I mean? And so we're going to have a multiple levels of propaganda. The government is going to have their hand in it. And then I've always wondered what kind of agreement do these higher entities have where they don't just show themselves? And then I had to start saying, at times they do show themselves. But if there is a cosmic agreement that you cannot interfere, my elders taught me one of the spiritual laws is you do not interfere with anyone's spiritual progression. That is a cosmic law, not a man-made mandate like running a red light and something like that. But when we speak about breaking cosmic law, there are cosmic consequences. And so if higher advanced beings cannot interfere with our development and growth, but they can leave breadcrumbs along the way to help elevate consciousness, then I believe that that's what's always been happening with the pyramids, Stonehenge, the Olmec heads, and so many great artifacts, the emerald tablets. All of these things are there to help raise the awareness when the time is right. And so the metaphorical term of digging and unearthing things, every time they dig, they keep unearthing more and more and more. And so to usurp that, right, there is a malevolent aspect to this, where if there are some entities who can break the law or are willing to break the cosmic law, they need vessels and they need you to do it, because they know themselves, whoa, I can't do it, but I can suggest some ways it could be done. And by, dropping little breadcrumbs along to an elite few who have their own agenda to try to keep us steered in another direction. And so when we think about war that's going on, there's war going on with your higher self and your lower self. There's war going on with governments. There's war going on in religion. And then there's war going on in the heavens. So this is always this opposition of people fighting, entities fighting, energies fighting for a cause. And we are always in the middle of it all. So I told you, if you see any spacecraft that look like this got some screws and nuts and bolts, there's nothing spiritual about that. That's all your government back engineering a specific technology, because they know how to, they already got flying saucers and aircraft that can make 90-degree turns and can cloak themselves. And now, remember, a higher entity has no purpose or reason to come here and kick over an ant pile or piss on an ant pile. There's no power in that. And so any entity that is really from somewhere else here to help evolve us spiritually and consciously, they would never come. Why would you travel 50 light years to beat us up? So that really makes no sense. So, but I do think that hand will be played soon. Some people say as early as 2025. Some people say hold on to your seatbelt because it's on and popping.
Okay, there you have it. Let's get into this here. Quite a few people are asking this question. This comes from Holy Shaw. Tonight's solar eclipse and April 8th lunar eclipse got me a little uncomfortable. So there's some questions and concern about what's going to take place on April 8th.
Right. Okay. So what I'm going to say about that is, and there are people way more experienced in understanding the astrological, time and space in which we are. But what concerns me is, anytime this many people are talking about something in specific, to me, nothing is going to happen. And I say that because I've been here long enough to know when common folk are talking about the eclipse, and it either means that the time that we think we are in doesn't mean something is not going to happen. But when Joe Smo down the block is asking me about the goddamn eclipse, I'm going, so when have we ever been ahead of the schedule and prepared for something catastrophic or even a spiritual awakening of sorts? Now, with that being said, I do feel being aware, you can tap in, and you, if you are in tune with self, be able to benefit from the cosmic time we're in. And I know that sounds like double talk. And what I'm trying to say is, there are always events that are taking place that are here to raise the vibration of those who are in tune. But if you just ate a chicken sandwich, got your, your freak on and this and that, are you really aware because you watched a few TikTok videos? When we say in alignment, are you fasting? Are you mentally ready to accept where the subtleties of such energy can take place? I refuse to believe we all know something is coming of this magnitude, and we're just sitting back waiting, and then it happens. I done been through I've been through Y2K. I done been through 2012, the Mayans. I done been through us talking about something so much, and when it does not happen, the disappointment that comes over me, it's like, damn, I fell for that again. So I am going to sit back and observe. And on the 8th, well, I think it's a solar, is it a full moon tonight or something? I know the eclipse is on the 8th. That's on a Monday. When Tuesday, if I wake up and I look outside and nothing has changed, on to the next. That's the best way I can answer. Now, you can get some people come on here and they can go for 2 hours telling you all these things gonna happen, and then when they don't happen, how do you feel about those individuals? You know what I mean? So I used to get on the podcast and make fun of a lot of stuff, because deep down inside, the real secret is none of that shit ever happens, right? So how do you feel about them individuals who are so deep? Sometimes they're shallow. They give you this whole breakdown of what's going to happen, and the moon and the cosmic and the crossing of the lands is going to raise this and that, and then it don't happen. So I'm of that mindset. That's all I'm going to say about that.
You know what that reminds me of? Y2K. Do you remember Y2K?
I remember all that damn water I bought.
And where were we when Y2K?
We were in the hospital.
We were in the hospital with Eli. I didn't give a damn about the clocks going.
We didn't care about, long as the
son
clocks
was
in the
sick.
hospital didn't go out. Long as the lights in the hospital didn't go out. None of that, but none of that. And I had tons of water. Gas
we had so
mask,
much water.
just like
the bottom waters bust.
The
remember?
bottom, it was so heavy. And here's the thing too, Mama Dot. While I was in there buying on that water, people started looking at me and they started buying water. You know, show you how this thing works. Exactly. And I'm like, look, this is what we're gonna do, you know, when this happened, and it didn't happen, right? And so I would love to be wrong, because I'm always prepared. Me and my family got plenty of water, plenty of food, plenty of ammunition. We ready. But I'm just saying, I digress.
Absolutely. All right. Bobby Black wants to know, why do women get money and think they don't need men, but later on in life long for one?
Oh, I can't, I have to generalize, because all women don't think, getting money and they don't need no man. Social media has really, and I can't just blame it on social media, but I think what social media did is it gave a lot of people a platform at one time. Remember, there only used to be so many voices that had the ability to voice their opinion in a public platform. Usually your celebrities, your politicians, your rapper, your reverend, like that. These people had a television spot or something in which they could voice their opinion, and it was a little bit more easier to control. Social media gave everybody a platform. And in giving everybody a platform, you had an undercurrent of people who feel a certain way that normally would have to just tuck that in. They have full-fledged platforms to move narratives, whichever way they choose to move a narrative. And so this get this money aspect is deep, because remember, this goes all the way back for black people in this country, in particular to the welfare system, when they knew if they got rid of their man, they could get more money into the household, even though the man may still be around. And the destruction of the black family by splitting the two, having the men now on the corner with nothing to do, and the independence, and a lot of these men not stepping up to the plate and turning a lot of our women into independent juggernauts by nature, by necessity, should I say. And so we have a society now where our women have been doing it for so long that they're like, please, I don't need that. However, as you said, later on in life, when you realize that the money is just a tool, the money is just a vessel to acquire what's needed, what's really needed to feed the soul, to feed the spirit, and to feed that boom, has nothing to do with money. That has to do with, and that usually comes later on in life when we get wiser. You know what I'm saying? And go, man, I wish I had put that money situation to the side, because if I get with the right person, we can get the money we need. I would rather have somebody standing in my corner ready to go to war for me through ups and downs, because the money will come, the money will go, but our consistency of building something, because it's nothing like not having no money and not feeling inadequate. It's nothing like having a woman or a man by your side and we go, yo, look, tonight's dinner is breakfast. We got some eggs, we got some bacon, we got, what we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? It's nothing like knowing that and knowing that neither one of us feel inadequate. It's nothing like building a plan with somebody like, look, okay, for the next 3 weeks, we're gonna have to cut back on this, we're gonna have to do that. And then when we get some money, it's nothing like being able to share it with the person that you built that with. You know what I mean? And so the isolation of women feeling like and they don't need a man, it's a psychological thing. Some men didn't show up to the plate. And remember, it's all about the trauma of each individual. And then there are women now who go like, man, please give me a king. You know what I'm saying? Who got some scruples, because any true definition of a man for me is problem solving. That's what really defines a man, amongst, of course, being able to protect his family, this and that, because that's what we do. Women are emotional, so she might get frantic about the situation. Your job is not to be frantic. And your job is to go, okay, let's figure this out. And when she sees she can trust you, or he got this, then you don't see that pattern no more. So look, boo, I just want to let you know the bill is due. All right, no, I trust you. And allow that man to find ways to go out, feed his family, protect his family. And so, yes, later on in life, they feel a little different, but sometimes it's over by that time, because all they have is a bunch of beat up men with crazy experiences and vice versa.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There you have it. Let's see, keeping it rolling. Hold on.
No problem.
Questions out here. Got a lot of questions out here. Want to keep it, mix it up.
Mix it up.
Yep. Okay, here we go. We have
Dave Lighty, is he related to Chris Lighty?
that's a good question.
That was my guy. Went to high school together.
Okay. 369 wants to know, do you think hip hop turned into a psyop in the early 90s?
Yeah, Panic did a very good lecture on hip hop, and he went step by step. I'm gonna say as early. He said from the inception of it, and I'm not really sure I buy that, because I don't think they knew where this thing was going. I think by the late 80s, going into the 90s, this thing began to switch. In fact, me and I'm telling y'all here this first, me and Obar are going to do a series. It's going to be for members, though. A 50-year breakdown of hip-hop, because Obar, my conversations with Brother Obar, he's filling in. Listen, I've forgotten more about hip-hop than most people will ever remember. And so, but he has the ability to fill in so many blanks for me that he's reminding me and putting pieces to a puzzle together that not even I saw. You know what I'm saying? So me and him are gonna have a series of conversations, pre-recorded, and we're gonna cover the last 50 years. We're gonna pull this thing back. But to answer your question, when this thing fully became about them understanding how powerful a radio message is, a chant where everybody is singing the same chorus, the ability to cross-promote with gin and juice. I can have a rapper who the people love and respect now singing about a product that I also own, and I own the very label that it's on. It became an intricate aspect, and to see the influence that now the rapper had that the reverend didn't have anymore and the political figures didn't have anymore. They had already got rid of Martin and Malcolm and the Black Panther Party. And so the pimp even had a newer platform, because if you're rapping about pimping, now you killing two birds with one stone. And so when that 90s came in and it became about so much other than the cultural awakening that took place in the 80s with so many of those groups, and then the privatization of prisons, and these prisons have to be filled for a specific, people to get their money, this became one big mess. And and here we are. So absolutely.
Okay. We have a couple of questions coming in about, this is from Babyface Lockstuff. What do you think about Putin bringing out a picture of the Black Jesus?
This has been going on for a while. I don't know why people are just talking about this now. Putin did this last year. I remember, again, thanks to TikTok, as crazy as it may seem, seeing them opening up their vault of the most ancient pictures that they have, and they're all of Black people. Jesus Christ, Black, all of these pictures that they have, and then they try to say, well, the skins on those images are dark due to time. Well, why ain't the clothing that they're wearing darkened due to time? Why is it only the face and the hands darkened due to time? And so Putin is remember, he's off the grid from what Western Western society is doing, and he's trying to awaken you to those who are really ready to have this information confirmed. But remember, as crazy as the same, Hitler said the same thing. Don't quote me verbatim, but he was like, the original Jew, is you guys. And see, at this point, this stuff should all be known, and it could be a tactic by Putin to activate us on some spiritual dog whistle stuff, but it is what it is. The more and more they dig, they finding us. And if you, in this day and time, still feel that the original people was someone other than yourself, then don't be dumb with a smartphone. You have access to so much information. And so I'm curious to know why Putin is doing this. But Putin ain't never had no problem with Black people. I'm going to say it again. I've never seen anything in his historical breakdown. There's Alexander Pushkin, I believe, was one of the founders of Russia. He's a Black man. Alexander Pushkin, I believe his name is. Don't quote me, because, Black dot get names all screwed up. And so they know what it is, and they don't have no problem telling you who it is. It's what you're going to do with that information that may or may not make the difference.
Okay. Too Smart wants to know, what you think about the Muslim community rejecting Sean King, aka Talcum?
I saw that. I don't know all the details about it, but I thought, as a Muslim, and I could be wrong, that once you accepted the teachings of, and you converted the teachings of becoming a Muslim and Allah, that you had to be accepted for who you are, even within your transgressions. And so, but every religion has sects and sets and divisions, and some of them have deviated from the original teachings. And so now you're rejecting him. I believe it's based on a political something he said, or something. And I'm like, well, that's not why would God not accept anyone ready to submit to the will of Allah? And so that's my question, was that submitting to the will of Allah is supposed to supersede all of my transgressions here on earth. And so the nation of gods and earths used to say, we trade with the European, we may do business, but he has to study 35 to 50 years before he can even call himself a Muslim son. And so that's a process that they would have to go through. So I'm not really sure what this is all about. I thought when you submitted to the will of Allah, that was it.
Okay, the next question comes in from Dave Lighty. Is self-awareness and your soul related? I can remember certain times when I was a baby from the age of 2, but my daughter said she doesn't remember anything until she was 5 years old.
Well, I think that's going to be due to the different times we live in, the food we eat, the environment. And so when you was 2 years old, you might have been getting them good home-cooked meals. There was no social media around. You wasn't being corrupted by the water, the food, and air at the level that we are. And so your overall awareness may have been, your soul knows everything. So let's just be clear on that. Your soul has to know everything. Your higher self knows everything. It just allows your lower self, or shall I say, your human self, to experience things that it needs to feed its ego, among other things. And so when we factor in your daughter at 2 may have come up on a different vibration, the world, the overall earthly vibration, different. Similac, I don't know if she was breastfed or this, that, the smoke, the air, the music, the movies, subliminal messages, even in the goddamn cartoons. And all of these things take place, create a different environment for your daughter when she turned 2 than when you was 2 years old. Because I have vivid memories at 2, 3, 4, and 5. Vivid. You know what I mean? And, things of that nature. So I think that would be the best way I can answer that, due to the day and times that we live in, and everybody's experience is going to be different.
Okay. We have Way Gamble. If a dude does left-handed mechanic stuff in jail, can he ever redeem himself when he comes home?
Whoa. Was he forced into left-hand mechanic stuff? Was he violated beyond his will? Or did he willfully participate? And I believe everyone can redeem themselves based on your actions, on how you live life according afterward. But that did happen. You did experience something that puts you out of balance. How do you go about refining and detoxing yourself to put yourself back in balance? A lot of these dudes, they do the left-hand mechanic thing, and then they want to bury that there and come out and act as if there's something other than themselves. And so there's many moving factors to that, because some people go behind that wall and they get violated. Because I can't keep 10 guys off me. I just can't. It's humanly impossible. But I'm not willfully and willingly doing so. And so this was just a violation of my human rights. This was a violation of my soul due to something out of my control. Remember, free will. If I'm willingly participating in something, then I have deeper traumas that need to be dealt with, because now that the veil is removed of prison, how am I going to act above that? And if I was violated, do I come out and violate other people? This is why they say hurt people hurt people. Or do I realize I was violated, and that violation is going to stop with me? I just have to live with that, because there are many brothers and sisters who have been violated, and they have come out to live a regular life because that's the life they always wanted to live, and they're not continuing that abuse. And then there are those who say, I got abused, somebody else has to pay for this. And the person who normally pays for it is not the person who violated you. And we have a long list of violations going on, and so on and so forth.
Okay, wow, time is flying by.
Yes.
And we will end on this last one right here. We try to get to as many as we can. Thank you so much for participating.
Yes.
And getting your questions out there. Remember, we have a sale going on at www.shopurbanx.com.
Yes.
Enjoy all of those perks and sales on the hoodies.
Absolutely.
Because they are going away.
Yep.
So we will end on this right here. Stay Woke wants to know, can you talk a little bit about the secret society?
Okay, again, that's a conversation that can be a lecture within itself. Why do we need secret societies? To preserve information that you figure knuckle draggers of all times. Remember, literal cave times was knuckle draggers. But according to the history as it is taught, there have always been nuggets of higher information, and the priesthood is the ones who usually kept that because that's the only thing that kept them in power. So if the priesthood knew when it was going to rain or knew certain things that could manipulate time, space, and matter in real time, you looked at them as gods. And so the priesthood usually had secrets that they kept amongst themselves to put them 1, 2, 3 octaves above the normal people, because that's how power works. And then as we move on through life, these secrets being passed on and passed on to a select few. Because if everyone knows how to meditate and conjure up certain energies, or know the tonation keys to bring about and change their life, then that puts us all on equal plane. Now, why would those who love power want to be on an equal plane with me and you? So if we knew how to align certain crystals in our house and call on a vibration to bring a higher awareness of self into our existence, to get all the money we want, to get all the food we want, to never be sick and this and that, then how are you better than me? And in the grand scheme of things, we all possess, through our chakra system, through us being gods or spiritual beings having a human experience, we all have access, or should have access, to the same information. So secret societies came about to keep those codes, those initiations, those rituals, those customs away from common folk so that they can maintain power. And by maintaining power, they maintain control. And so there are various secret societies in every culture, and all of them have a little nugget, and this one has a nugget. The most common is the Masonic order, and even there's variations of that. There's some knuckle draggers in the Masonic order who, just having cookouts, or you give them a handshake and they feel important. And then there are those on the higher planes of that who understand how to conjure energy and use it. And so it's all about power. It's all about control. But the more common that information becomes, like, wait a minute, if I just meditate and focus my attention on this, I can have it. Ball game over. So I'd like to say thank you for participating here with us on the HULC series. I'll be here every Sunday, me and Mama Dot, in a relaxed environment trying to answer your questions. So this is the Black Dot. These are my chronicles. This is my story. And I am sticking to it. Peace.
Peace. Have a great Sunday.
Yes.